Welcome to a little segment I like to call Bumps and Bends. Hey guys, welcome to a track guide for Lime Rock Park Classic with the Pure Formula Sprint. This is the USF 2000 version. I've done quite a few track guides for Lime Rock Park, but this is the first for this particular car, and I really wanted to do it because when I first started playing around with this car this week, I was doing things that I would expect a Formula 3 to do, and this is definitely not a Formula 3 car. So I just wanted to run you through the differences that I have with the car itself. This thing might have wings, but it's definitely not an aero efficient car. A lot of this wing work is decoration. This could be a Formula Ford with a D on the end rather than a Formula 4. So what you have to do is use the mechanical grip that's available to you, and I'll show you what I mean. I've moved the brake bias to 55.9. I had it lower in the 54s, and it was really affecting the car balance into turn 1. So let's have a look at the laps. This was actually a race that I've just done. The lap after this was a 58.60, but in the replay section of iRacing, it doesn't show your non-official laps. So my second lap, they were pretty close, 48.6. The leaders are doing low 48. So this particular lap is not necessarily the fastest. I'm not the fastest driver in the world, but these laps are competitive. And watching the leaders and the way they manipulate the car's mechanical grip has given me 3/4 of a second over my personal times. I was in the low 49s. Now I'm almost in the mid 48s. So let's have a look at a full speed lap, and then we'll run it through corner by corner. So you just want to be as smooth as possible into turn 1 and 2. Try not to be too greedy. Going out wide and cutting. I would usually go second gear in the Formula 3 here. Go third. Second in this car is a lot better. Maximise your momentum. I'm going to let off quite a bit for the hill. You can go full throttle over there. Down to fourth here. As soon as you feel the front end grip, you're on it. This is a very tricky corner. The last one. It does get understeery, and that is a 48.6. I found in the pack that last corner is so understeery, and most of us were either lifting or going wide on the exit of that corner. So let's have a look at that corner by corner. I think we can bring the camera down a bit. Right, so 55.9. I'm not throwing the car into turn 1 because it's naturally understeery. There is a lot of understeer within this setup, and you have to allow for that, especially at turn 1 and 2. So I'm still using roughly the blue cone as a braking marker, but I'm really focusing on where the front end is gliding in. I'd like it to be closer here, but you really want to focus on not going too wide here, because if you go too wide, you spend the rest of the corner gathering it up and you lose so much time, like 3 to 4 tenths. So just try and have a nice smooth turn 1 and 2. Try not to be too aggressive, and just find the rhythm of the car and the way it understeers, and aim for this line, and really just try and focus on smoothly getting on the throttle. If you get on the throttle too early, it will send you wide over here. Once again, you spend your time gathering it up, but you really want to set up the exit of that corner to go nice and wide here and find a nice cutting point. I'm sort of cutting in early in third, and in the Formula 3, I would stay in third and use the low revs, the tyre over the ripple strip here, and I just found in this car the understeer is way too prominent. So using second gear at just the right time, see how it pulls the front end in just enough, to focus on staying to the left side of the track here and setting up the following corner. If you cut in too early and you hit this curb, it will lift the car. It makes a really weird bump, but the curb itself is quite raised. So just try and skim that front tire right around the white line and maximize your momentum out of the corner. You can use this part of the ripple strip. Don't use too much because you'll hit the wall and then you'll hit this wall. So just basically a drag strip here. And then you'll spend this part of the corner setting up the hill. Go nice and wide and throw it in, but you're not as full throttle as you'd like to be. You're going up the hill, and you can go full throttle here, but just remember the first couple of laps, remember this was my qualifying session, the first couple of laps the rears are not warm enough to get that full grip, so it kicks the rear end out at the crest of the hill. As you progress from lap 3, 4 onwards, you flat stick over this hill, but you'll feel the kick and just let off a tiny bit to alleviate that, not fully, and yeah, use the kick, maintain momentum, and just focus on this sweeper. It's really important in this car, the sweeper. So in the Formula 3, I'd probably stay in 5th and just glide it along. There's enough aero grip to pull that front end right around the corner. This car doesn't have that front end grip, and if you push too hard, you're going to end up wide on exit, and it totally stuffs up the last corner and the new momentum on the straight. You're going to get swallowed up in the race. So just get on that throttle nice and early. As soon as you feel, I'm going into 4th gear to pull the front end in, but as soon as you feel that little wiggle there, bang, jump on the throttle. One sec, buddy. And then just get on the full throttle on exit, coming down, and really try to eat that last corner. Too much, if you touch this bump, see how it raises up like that, it will bump you a little bit too wide. In a race, try not to touch it at all, because you're going to have to lift, and this is not a place you want to lift on the circuit, because you're going to get swallowed up by the cars behind. There's not much in these cars, and your opponents are going to benefit from a mistake that you've made. And there you go. Really hard to get a slipstream here. That was a 48.6. Let's have a look at the start of the race. I qualified 4th and I got swallowed up. Oh, mate, it was... I wasn't pushing hard enough, to be honest, Peter. So, Oliver here was in P2 and Danny was in P1. So he set the pace. He actually slowed right down. He let the safety car take off, but he wasn't doing it stupidly. As soon as he took off, he committed to his acceleration, and the whole field was able to take off. No worries at all. These two guys on the right probably had a better run than I did, and to be honest, I was a little bit compromised into turn 1. So Domingos, I battled with for the entire lap, or entire race. And you can see this is where he got in front of me. I've just allowed way too much room. I didn't want to understeer and go off the track on turn 1. I wanted to make it to lap 2. So he's got under me. And this is pretty much where we stayed for the entire race. These guys took off, spun off, came back. But once I gathered things up, it was Domingos and myself, and I just couldn't get past him. There's not enough of a slipstream. You've got to get a great run out of that second last corner of the sweeper. As you can see, into turn 1, they're going to go defensive. and every lap was like that. I just couldn't do it. So he went defensive every time. I thought, yep, okay. But he was able to gather it up and then close this door. Where Domingos was suffering was at this corner, and quite often I was able to catch just enough here. You know, we had Marcellus just waiting for something to happen. The pack racing was quite good because there's not as much slipstreaming to be done. It's all about driver skill, mechanical grip, and balls. Just have nice big balls. But it was great, clean racing, and I'll put this race up tomorrow. Yes. Thank you to everyone who watched. I hope you enjoyed that. Did you enjoy that, Peter?
Yeah.
Pete doesn't usually do my track guides, do you? But I've got a week off and just enjoying having nice, relaxing driving with no having to worry about rushing off to work. So have a great day, guys. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Down if you didn't. Make sure you subscribe and check me out on Twitch. And if you've got any ideas, we really appreciate hearing them. And chuck them in the comments below. See you next time. Bye.